There are a lot of things which have been asked about JD Vance, but one of the things which you need to recognize and make peace with is that JD Vance is the creation of Peter Thiel. So there's a question which was asked by one of the viewers of Glenn Greenwald, and he responded concerning the whole issue of Peter Thiel and JD Vance. If you are interested in this kind of videos, go ahead, subscribe. I really need your support. Subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. We need to observe that response of Greenwald concerning the issue of Peter Thiel and JD Vance, and then we are going to see my reaction.
JD Vance is 1,000% the creation of Peter Thiel and that very Israel-connected faction in Silicon Valley. It made JD Vance rich. JD Vance in 2022, when he was running for the Senate in Ohio against two other Republicans who were credible, established Republican politicians, got Donald Trump's nomination pretty much exclusively because Peter Thiel wrangled it out of him. Peter Thiel was crucial to Trump's 2016 campaign run because he was one of the only billionaires, like people who have a lot of accomplishment in the corporate and Silicon Valley world, willing to stand up and explicitly and wholeheartedly endorse Trump. He spoke at the RNC, gave a keynote address in prime time. And even though Peter Thiel eventually stopped donating lots of money, he has Trump's eternal gratitude. And it was Peter Thiel who got JD Vance the endorsement of Trump in that Republican race, even though Trump easily could have supported his opponent. And as we know, Trump's endorsement in a GOP primary is all but a guarantee that that person is going to win. That led JD Vance to win that Ohio Senate race and become a senator, owing everything to Peter Thiel, who also made him rich, for whom he worked. And obviously, Peter Thiel is, among other things, the co-founder of Palantir and a hardcore Zionist and Israel supporter, deeply connected to the military-industrial complex and the war-making machines. That's the muck out of which JD Vance grew and emerged.
The relationship between Peter Thiel and JD Vance begins in 2011. In 2011, Peter Thiel went to give a talk at Yale University, and here was JD Vance. JD Vance was a student at Yale University, and they met after that conversation. According to JD Vance, that was the best conversation he has ever had. It is a life-changing conversation. Peter Thiel went ahead to employ JD Vance under his venture capital organization. Now, when it comes to politics, in 2016, it is only Peter Thiel in those billionaire class who went ahead and endorsed Donald Trump. He went ahead to donate around $1 million into the campaign of JD Vance. But somehow, the donations of Peter Thiel dwindled. But one of the things which Donald Trump will never forget is that it is Peter Thiel who stood by JD Vance, not JD Vance, but Donald Trump. So things are, more especially at the moment, JD Vance wants to disassociate with the Iran war. That's the one thing which we need to understand. He is interested to run in 2028 as a presidential candidate under the Republican Party. And as we have all observed, the Republican Party is in shambles. Individuals who had a voice, the likes of Tucker Carlson, Meghan Kelly, Candace Owen, Nikki Fuentes just left the bus, so are on Meghan Kelly. These are some of the individuals who were in the MAGA movement. But after Donald Trump went ahead and attacked Iran, this kind of trust fractured. But you can see there are some individuals like Meghan Kelly and also Tucker Carlson and probably Candace Owen. They have shown some sympathy to JD Vance. But one of the individuals who I have seen is so critical of JD Vance is Sean Ryan. That individual, I can say from my own perception, is that he really doesn't trust anybody more, especially considering Donald Trump had promised there were not going to be new wars. So as I have said, Peter Thiel was the individual who stood by Donald Trump in 2016. And in 2020, I believe, not 2020, around 2018 or 2016, probably around 2020. Peter Thiel took J.D. Vance to Mar-a-Lago, and they made kind of can I say a reconciliation with Donald Trump, because J.D. Vance had talked ill of Donald Trump. And after they had made some reconciliation, Donald Trump went ahead to endorse J.D. Vance when he was running on the state of Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. J.D. Vance went ahead to win that kind of candidacy. Peter Thiel went ahead to donate 15 million US dollars to J.D. Vance. Peter Thiel was the individual who, which is the best term to use, who seek the individuals to contribute to the campaign of J.D. Vance. And some of the individuals which which Peter Thiel mobilized include David Sachs. David Sachs went ahead to donate around 1 million US dollars. So you can see J.D. Vance is molded, is manufactured, is created by Peter Thiel. Let's go back to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, as we all know, is one of those individuals who are referred as PayPal mafia, the likes of Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and I don't know other individuals. Peter Thiel is as invested in Palantir. And as we all know, Palantir is one of those companies which is invested, or in, how can I say, which has been invested heavily in by the government. You saw its shares moved from around 20 something shillings to 150 something shillings per share. So Donald Trump is one of, not Donald Trump, but Peter Thiel is one of the investors in Palantir. Peter Thiel is that individual who is interested in AI. Palantir is involved in seeking or is trying to kind of collect all the information of the Americans to one platform. Now, Peter Thiel is closely associated with the Israeli government. Is closely associated with the Israeli government. So, what am I trying to say? Under Peter Thiel, the individual who endorsed Donald Trump, we have witnessed a war against Iran. Now, Peter Thiel, the individual who created J.D. Vance, wants to deassociate Donald Trump with J.D. Vance. Not in a bad manner, but in a strategic manner, to ensure that at least J.D. Vance is reborn again and baptized by the Catholic Church. He has already been baptized, but you understand. So you want to make him as white as snow, such that by 2028 he will be a new creation. And then he will go ahead and continue new wars, new surveillance, and doing the bidding of Peter Thiel. So if you are one of those individuals who is convinced that J.D. Vance is going to be a great president, he is not interested in going foreign interventions, in starting new wars, in assisting industrial military complex, I believe you need to understand something. There is a phrase which I learned somewhere. Because one of the things which you need to understand, I am not an American citizen. I learn and I try to combine these things. In the book which I'm currently reading, one of the things which I've realized is that the bigger the bus, I mean where people, individuals put money, my pronunciation may not be right, the longer the sword. The bigger the bus, the longer the sword. So you as an ordinary American, how much are you donating to J.D. Vance? How much? Write in the comment section. How much are you donating to J.D. Vance? $5? $10? Peter Thiel donated more than 15 million US dollars when J.D. Vance was running for his senatorial seat. Peter Thiel enabled J.D. Vance to accumulate enough wealth. Peter Thiel mobilized billionaires to donate to the campaign of J.D. Vance. So what do you expect? Who is going to be listened to more? Who has more leverage? It's you with $5, even if you are 100 of you. It's you with $5, 100 of you, or Peter Thiel, one individual who has donated more than 15 million US dollars and went ahead a step further to mobilize individuals. That's kind of my thoughts. If you are interested in this kind of videos, just go ahead as usual, subscribe. We need to reach 1,000 subscribers. That's our target. And then targets move. We need to reach 1,000 subscribers. Share, subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. I would really like your thoughts, more especially the relationship between J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Donald Trump and the 2020 presidential campaign or candidacy. See you in my next one. As usual, siku njema.